Story of two men sitting in two prestigious positions in the small community of Letcher County, Kentucky. The local sheriff, Shawn Mickey Stines, and the only judge in town, Kevin Mullins. Both with great reputations, known especially for their work in trying to help their community battle the opioid epidemic. On September 19th, after lunch, the sheriff headed to the judge's chambers for a closed-door private meeting. What happened next, no one in this community expected. Reports that the sheriff looked at the judge's phone, put it down, and then fired his gun several times, taking the life of Judge Mullins. The sheriff then walked into the courtroom, laid down his gun, and surrendered himself. Sheriff Mickey Stines is now charged with first-degree murder, and the community is in collective mourning and absolute shock. Tonight, we are live from Letcher County with another big development in this case.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. We have a big hour straight ahead. We're going to get to Carly Gregg in just a moment. But I want to begin with the judge, Judge Kevin Mullins. Shot in his chambers. That should never happen. Should never, ever happen. We know it. I know it. You know it. Everyone knows it. We can't have people going to judges' chambers and shooting them. And by the people or person who is supposed to protect him and everyone else inside that courthouse, the judge is doing his job. Now, the man charged, Sheriff Mickey Stines, been charged with murder for shooting the judge. Now, he surrendered himself. It's supposedly on video, so I don't know how much question there is about it. But again, murder is an allegation. The shooting seems like it's pretty well established here. And the question really comes down to, well, why did he do it? Isn't that where we land every time we talk about this story? And we know there's lots of rumors floating around on the World Wide Web and, of course, out in Letcher County and in the rest of eastern Kentucky and Appalachia. Everyone's talking about it, and there's rumors about why it happened. Let me just go on record right here, right now. Short of self-defense, there's no justification for what happened here. Self-defense is justifiable homicide. Okay, we have that on our books. What we don't have on our books is taking the life of someone because of something that just was so wrong for whatever reason. See, we have a system of justice that deals with that. We have police officers and sheriff's deputies who are supposed to catch the perpetrator. Then we have prosecutors who are supposed to put together the evidence. We have trials. We have judges who oversee the trials. And then a jury decides what happened. And if it is in fact a crime and someone is guilty of doing something horrible, then either the judge or the jury, depending upon the jurisdiction, will hand down the punishment. One person on their own does not get to be judge, jury, and executioner in our system of justice. None of that is justifiable homicide. Self-defense is, you know, you're scared for your own safety or the safety of others. Someone else is going to be killed, or I'm going to be killed, or great bodily injury to me or to someone else. Then I'm forced to use my weapon in a way that is justified by the law. That's the only circumstance. So unless we hear an argument about self-defense, regardless of the reason, how horrible it could be, and it may not be because we don't know, that is not justifiable homicide. It doesn't work that way. Which leads us to the next question, which is, when will we hear the evidence? When will we find out the answer to the one question that has not been answered, which is, why would a sheriff who is supposed to protect anyone and everyone in that courthouse, anyone and everyone in that county, why would the sheriff shoot the judge in his chambers? We may find out this week. Let's go to Court TV producer Cody Thomas, who's on the case, joining us live from West Liberty, Kentucky, where tomorrow is a big, big day in all this. Before we get to that, though, I can't forget, Cody, I mean, the defendant here is the sheriff. And we were talking about, well, why is he still the sheriff? Is he going to resign? Is he going to be fired? What's the latest on all of that, Cody?
Well, Vinny, the big news of today, former Sheriff Shawn Stines has officially filed his resignation, and this comes on the heels of Governor Andy Beshear asking for him to resign from his position last week. Now, in that official filing today, it said, quote, Mr. Stines has made the difficult decision to effect his retirement as of September 30th, 2024. This decision is made not as a result of any ultimatum or in any way as a concession to any allegations made by the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Rather, Sheriff Stines has made this decision to allow for a successor to continue to protect his beloved constituents while he addresses the legal processes ahead of him. Now, Vinny, again, Andy Beshear called for his resignation last week, saying that if he didn't officially resign, that his office would move forward with their removal of Stines as sheriff. But based on the rhetoric in this letter, the resignation seems to be done in good spirits.
Yeah. Retirement after you shoot the judge in the chambers, allegedly, right? Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, like I said, everyone, including Sheriff Mickey Stines, presumed innocent, folks, presumed innocent. We've just heard reports about what happened, and, you know, we'll see. Now, I noticed on that letter some attorneys who were not the attorney that we saw in his first appearance, was a public defender. That was letterhead. What's going on here? He's got new attorneys?
That is exactly right, Vinny. That public defender is no more. He got two new attorneys today. Their names are Jeremy and Carrie Bartley. Now, Vinny, the interesting thing about these two new attorneys is that they are personal injury attorneys, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle a murder case. But also, if you remember, the initial prosecutor on the case, Matt Butler, recused himself from the case due to his personal relationship with the victim, Judge Kevin Mullins. Take a listen to this statement that he made a few days ago.
My office is recusing, or has recused, out of the prosecution of Sheriff Mickey Stines related to the death of Kevin Mullins. Many of you are aware of the close personal relationship I had with Judge Mullins. You may know, for example, that we, for many years, were married to a pair of sisters. I had a close professional relationship with Sheriff Mickey Stines. A staff member of mine was in the judicial suite, or the district court suite, at the time this happened, and would likely be a witness in this case. And so it is customary and it is expected in this case that me and my entire office recuse.
And Vinny, the Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman has agreed to take over this case as far as the prosecution goes, and he informs the community that he will pursue justice in the fullest extent in this case.
Now, this is a potential capital case. A public servant or public person of the government, a judge, was shot and killed, makes it eligible for the death penalty in Kentucky. I'm wondering about these defense attorneys, if they're death penalty qualified in Kentucky, or if that's even necessary in Kentucky. I'm not sure, but I think that's going to be another issue sort of bubbling in the background here. Okay, you're there in front of the courthouse. What's going on tomorrow? Big day tomorrow.
Huge day tomorrow, Vinny. Preliminary hearing. This will be one of the first insights we have into the evidence that the state has against Mickey Stines. Witnesses will be called, evidence will be presented, and it also will give us insight as to a possible motive, because we still don't know why this shooting would have happened in those judges' chambers. So evidence will be presented to try to move this case from district court to circuit court, which will be a further push towards a real official jury trial down the line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much, you know, these things can go in many different directions. The defense tries to make these very big when they can. Prosecutors really like to limit it. They want just enough to get it up to the next level, to the circuit court. It'll be interesting to see and hear the testimony, but I've got to think that if there was a reason behind any of this, if there was something on that cell phone that one of these defense attorneys in cross-examination is going to ask about that. All right, let's talk about the community. To me, that's another big part of the story. It's such a small community. I mean, we're talking like a handful of thousands of people. You've got an elected sheriff. You look at these images, just beautiful, beautiful part of the country. How is everyone out there day one on the ground for you?
Well, Vinny, right now we're actually in Morgan County, Kentucky, which is about 2 hours away from Letcher County. We spoke to the sheriff. He rode by earlier and spoke to us briefly, explaining why it's here. He said that the judge is a tri-county judge, and dealing with his caseload this week, it would have been easier for Stines to have this hearing here in Morgan County versus Letcher County. But we here at Court TV have spoken to residents over in Letcher County who are still very shocked to hear this news about what happened just less than 2 weeks ago. Take a listen to what some residents had to say a few days ago.
Yeah, we're very tight-knit. It's sad all the way around. I think everybody's kind of mourning in their own way.
It seems like everybody knew the two gentlemen involved.
Very well. We have one of the only restaurants downtown, and they frequent often, and were very good to us, both of them, so no negativity from my end.
What was your reaction when you heard the news last week?
Very shocked, very shocked.
So, Vinny, with this big day going on tomorrow with the preliminary hearing, hopefully some of those residents over in Letcher County have some of their questions answered.
We shall see. All right. Cody Thomas on the case in Kentucky. I'm sure I will speak with you tomorrow night. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Also with us, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone tonight. Got a bunch of things I want to address here. Al, I'm going to start with you. I'll give you multiple choice. Do you want to talk about the sheriff's retirement, the personal injury attorneys who've taken over this murder case, potential death penalty case, or do you want to talk about the hearing and the motive that may come out in court tomorrow? Your choice. Go ahead.
What about the Mets in the playoffs? Will you go with that?
We already know that. We know what happened there.
Oh, okay.
That's
all right.
all good news.
So let's go with the retirement. Let's go with the retirement. Okay. He had to retire because if he didn't, I mean, he's looking at charges that could be official misconduct with regards to his actions involved in this situation. Whether or not he's convicted of the crime, he still could be facing official misconduct, which is a civil charge with regards, also criminal, but also would be against him and would cause him to lose his pension. So by retiring and putting it down that way, he has not been adjudicated in any way. Any IA investigation would stop at this point because he's no longer in law enforcement. And so he may be able to skirt through and get his police pension. So the move was, the right move under the circumstances. And, his attorney, whether it's personal injury or not, definitely told him to go in the right direction, which was with regards to this. Although I will say that I took a look at that law firm that's representing him, and that Kerry Bartley does have a criminal background. She was in the public advocate's office, and so she does have some knowledge on it and did handle murder cases. I don't know if with regards to this level and whether or not she's actually appeared as defense on them, but the public advocate obviously has some, quasi-criminal aspect to it. So
absolutely.
It's not all public, it's not all personal injury, although the head guy deals with truck cases, which is...
Well, the one thing about personal injury attorney, and you answered two things, Al, so now I got to go to Darnell. Darnell, he's not leaving you anything. He's not leaving you anything. No, but Darnell, the truth is, though, Darnell, personal injury attorneys, some incredible litigators inside a courtroom, in front of a jury, they know how to reach people, and if she has any sort of background in this, it could be a very powerful, formidable team here.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, one thing is for sure. We spend long hours in court, and it's good to look at pleasant, attractive people. And so I chose her over Al any day. And that's for starters. In terms of Al's question, I just want to get back to it. With the retirement, I think what we missed in that answer is that this guy shot a judge. And so they made it almost like a sweetheart deal. Like, we're going to let you retire? I'm sure, like Al said, it's misconduct, it's criminal, it's everything. And even though there are allegations, he shot a judge and killed him. So they could have easily took his pension away. He got a sweetheart deal, and I don't understand his town because they seem to be mourning the death of the other person, but they show a lot of deference for the shooter.
Well, there's something else happening. You know, you look online in the court of public opinion. Everyone, well, besides the rumors, people are tending to think there had to be a reason. There had to be a reason. And Jennifer Brandt, do you expect tomorrow during this preliminary probable cause type hearing to hear that, to hear the why of it tomorrow?
I hope so, because we all have those questions, and I think everybody, the townspeople, the public in general, we all want to know why would this happen, especially because these two gentlemen were friends. They had gone out to lunch together that very day. It seemed like they got along. The sheriff was there to protect the judge. Small town, everybody knows everybody. There didn't seem to be really any animosity between these two. And then all of a sudden, they come back from lunch. He picks up his cell phone in the judge's chambers and then shoots him. So we all want to know what was on that cell phone. What did he read or talk about while they were in the chambers together before the shooting occurred? And, you know, why would that drive somebody to pick up a gun and shoot someone who was a friend or at least a colleague, somebody he worked with? So it just seems bizarre. And I think there must be a reason. I don't know if it's a justifiable reason, but I think we're all waiting to hear what it is.
Yeah, and basically, Al, the only justifiable reason would be self-defense, and I didn't hear anything about another weapon. I didn't hear about an attack or anything like that. We'll find out tomorrow. But the key is whatever's on that phone. The sheriff reportedly looked at the phone of the judge in chambers, put down the judge's phone, and then allegedly shot him.
Yeah. And that's going to be fascinating, but I don't think we're going to get much information tomorrow. They don't really need to give too much information tomorrow.
Well, don't you think on cross-examination they might be asked about that? What was on the phone?
Well, but see the thing, what for tomorrow's purposes?
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be too much going on with that. His attorney's going to be keeping a very, very tight leash on everything. It makes sense. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I want to just go on. I want to just say something with regards to Darnell mentioned about the pension. He's applied for retirement. It does not mean he automatically gets it. There will be a pension hearing with regards to same, and they have the opportunity to take a look. And you can be, they can reduce your pension. They can take away your pension for what's called bad acts. So there is a possibility that his pension could be severely reduced, or it could be terminated completely. Now, just so you understand, his pension, if it's gone, all the money he put into the pension would be refunded to him. So they can't take that away, but they can take away his pension thing. And with regards to a civil attorney handling a murder case, let's remember that Melvin Belli represented Jack Ruby in a trial of Jack Ruby.
That's right.
And he had never handled a criminal trial before, and he got involved in the biggest one.
The band is playing, Al. You know what that means.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Al Wunsch.